Hey, well, good morning. I'm Jasmine
Good
from
morning.
Fangirlish. How are you?
Hi,
How are you doing?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm
Let me
good.
see. Got it. Let me put that on there. I had to, because I had to bring the thing. Okay, can you see me? Let me see.
Yes, I
I'm
can see. I can.
sliding back
No. I
from
can
the
see
desk.
you. I can see you just fine. You look
Okay,
great. I can see you just fine. Are you
thank you.
are you here? Are you where are you located? Are you in California or are you somewhere else?
No, I'm in Florida. I'm in Jacksonville
Oh,
normally,
okay.
but I am doing a project with Valencia College in Orlando. So
Oh,
I
okay.
am presently in Orlando. They have a film department, and we're discussing doing some things with their film department.
Oh, nice. Love that.
Yeah, just documentary, a couple of documentaries, because I will be making history next year in 2025.
You're already making history. But congratulations on the release of A Man's Promise because it took a really long time to get to this one. It really did.
Yes, my readers almost had given up. They said, "Oh," but now they are in hog heaven.
It was so good. Like I watched it and I loved it more than the first film, which is weird to say, but I think it's because like I have a soft spot for Caden, even though what he told
Yeah,
Shiloh wasn't very nice.
well, Dalton was one of the least likely people to come back, and so was Caden. Caden had a
Really?
musical career,
Ah,
and can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, and of course, Dalton was the forever playboy who didn't worry about doing anything, but Jace, I think, was the more responsible, who was in leadership. He was a leader. So yeah, Caden's story, because of their history. Whenever I write books, I love writing tropes where the hero and the heroine have a past.
Yeah, that's what I
And
was actually going to ask you. That was what was going to lead me into my question about asking you about what it is about like those second chance romances that you like so much.
oh gosh, because I mean, I love them. Um, I started dating my husband when I was 14. Granted, we didn't break up sort of what in the normal sense of breaking up, but he was 2 years older than me, so he had graduated from high school 2 years before me, had gone to a trade school and everything. But when I graduated, my family were convinced that because we dated for so long and we had been friends since kindergarten, that we never dated anybody else, that we were doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't see date somebody else. So because they kept that up front and center, we say fine, but we never did. I never dated anybody else. He never. We were just like a whole month. We were miserable. And so we went to them and say, look, it's not working. We know who we want. We love each other. And we don't have to date other people to determine what our life will be. And so after not even a whole month, we didn't call each other, we didn't go out or anything. And then finally he called me, say it's not working. I know I want to marry you. I want a future with you. I don't have to take no other girl. I felt the same way. And we told our family, y'all need to back off. We got this. And so they say, fine. And that's when we did. We got married a year after I graduated from high school.
Wow, that's a beautiful story.
So, so I love writing about characters that have a past, because
Yeah.
I believe if they had something going, something may have broken them up or whatever. If they really love each other, they will find their way back.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely the case with Caden and Shiloh because like there's a definite misunderstanding with those two, because he didn't know that she had gotten into an accident, because he thought she was
Right.
actually doing something, like, cheating on him. So then he was basically like, I wash my hands of it. I don't want any parts of you anymore. Nothing. And I actually loved that Shiloh was very, like, she stood her ground and was like, I'm not ready to give you a second chance right now, because I'm still
Right.
dealing with the hurt that you caused me. Because it's like, I tried to tell you, and you didn't even want to see me, didn't want to listen.
Right.
And I actually thought it was interesting when, because I watched both of the movies back to back over the weekend, and I thought it was
Uh-huh.
interesting that, despite everything, she was able to put her stuff aside and said, I want the Grangers to take over the company, because they're the rightful
Right.
ones who should. She put all the personal stuff aside and was like, I know who they are as people professionally. So I'm no, despite what's going on with me and Caden, like, I know that they're still good people, and this is the kind of thing that their
Right.
dad would want for them. So I love
Right.
that.
Right.
But
Right.
what is it about, like, this particular story that, like, that inspired you? Like, what inspired you to write these books? Because did you always know when you were writing it that it was gonna be a three books, like, based on these three brothers, and that it was gonna have this big mystery, and then that they're trying to solve to get their dad out of prison?
No, not at all. I had been writing family sagas, but I go from one brother to the next and I end the brother. They were not what I call a continuity. A continuity is where, each one have their own separate story, but you put a thread in there, either a mystery or suspense that carries through the entire book. And usually you don't find the outcome until the third book or the fourth book or whatever. So I was offered a chance to be the first Black woman to write for Mirror, which was a line under Harlequin that was more, it wasn't just a series. Harlequin had the book clubs, and I wrote for Desires, where a book a month went out to the readers or whatever. This was more their echelon line. It was one of their elites line, and I was invited to write for them. And so they explained to me, we want to give you a three book deal, but we want the book connected in some way. And I have been talking to a lot of men who say, well, my wife reads your books, but I'm more in the murder mysteries and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not into the kissy, kissy, bed books. But if you put a murder mystery in there, I might be interested. So that's what I decided to do. So I had to think about what idea I want to come up with. So I decided to do a murder mystery. And I started watching a lot of murder shows and lawyer shows, attorney, courtroom drama. And I came up with what if, and that's what I always ask myself. What if this high powered, well to do entrepreneur went to jail for killing his wife, and he really wasn't the one who killed her? He had three sons. They went their separate ways. And what if they had to come back? So I had to kill the grandfather off, give them a reason to come back. The company going under, they promised their grandfather to save it and also to free their father. But in the meantime, they each find romance, and then there's danger all around. And as you know, that what happened in book one had nothing to do with the murder. So
Mhm.
you're like, okay, is this the same guy that killed? The second thing, I have you thinking that way. So everybody said, I can't believe you left us hanging
That was
in book
me.
two. I say because y'all knew it would be a threesome and everything would be finished in book three, which I thought. And so, because I got a 3-book contract, and I had gone on with my publisher and wrote something else, and all they were bombarded, and I was bombarded with letters from readers who wanted the father's story. So there is a fourth book. It wasn't optioned by PassionFlix, but there is a fourth book that centers on how the father and his attorney met in
Okay.
prison, of all places, and fell in love. And how could that even last with how would an attorney date someone in prison that got another 15 years to go? All of that, and it was a beautiful love story. And it talks about how they met, how he got out, how they got married, and some things that happened after he got out of prison with them. So yeah, it's a fourth book.
Okay. And so, obviously we know Black people rarely get to see themselves on screen, like in successful roles. Like we don't get to see Black love showcased in a real, non-stereotypical way. So why do you
Right.
think it's so important for us to see more of that? Because, with films, like we're still, it's kind of getting there, but it's still at a slow crawl. Because with PassionFlix, it's great because they're giving more Black authors opportunities to be able to adapt their films, adapt their books for the screen. So I'm just saying, like, what is it that you think is so important about getting our stories out there in a way that showcases us in a more positive light? Like with the Grangers, for example, being these successful young Black men, because we don't see that all the time on screen. Black men are always painted as stereotypes, and Black women are painted as stereotypes too. The angry Black woman trope all the time. So, what is it about your books that and adapting them for film that you feel is so important to see?
Because I don't buy into that scenario or that stereotype. I think that's only a part of any race. You're going to have the, ones that just don't want to do. And I think that over the years, they have focused on that because they think that's what people think, or people think they know, that they don't give us a chance to show who we really are. It's no different when I started writing romances 30 years ago, next year, 29 years. It was hard for me to sell to a major publisher because they couldn't picture our men being romantic. I'm like, really? My father always remembered Valentine's for my mom. My uncles always took care of their family. They were hardworking, loving men. So that's what I wanted to show. And I'm successful. Worked for State Farm Insurance for 37 years before I retired. So I had a high management position. I was married with my husband. He had a good job. So I wanted people to know that there are successful Black people. Everybody don't live and thrive in the hood or are gangsters as people think. So my role in all my books is to show that there are successful Black women and men and who love each other. And I think more of that needs to be seen. It shouldn't be a minority. It should be that if you don't show it, people still going to have their stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to believe what could be or possibly is. So the more they see romance movies of people of color, Black people, people of color, the more it becomes more norm than an exception.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Well said. Did you get a chance to get to go on the set during the filming of this one or at all? Like, did you have any opportunities to provide guidance, for Jasmine and Michael while they were filming? Did they? Because I know with Jasmine, she had posted that this was her first time playing a leading lady in a feature, so she was, expressed that she had some nerves. So I was just wondering if she reached out to you for any type of guidance on the character.
No, Jasmine did wonderful. I met Jasmine in the first book. And to answer your question, yes, that's one thing that I applaud Tosca for allowing that I am, or any author that she partnered with to do their book, become an executive producer right along with her and whomever else she may want to add. And as an executive producer, not all authors want to do it, but I'm very particular about my work to make sure that what I write is what is portrayed. I know that a lot of times networks and companies buy the books or option the book for movies, and then the end result is nothing like what you've read.
Yep.
I'm one of these authors. I will walk away, and I have walked away from movie deals where they say, oh, it's not enough drama. It's not enough this. The drama, why? And I ask, why does it have to be all this drama? Some people, I mean, it's drama in my books, and it's what I want the drama to be. We don't all have to thrive on drama, the brothers, because I write about cousins, brothers sleeping with each other, wives. To me, that's abnormal to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the norm. So why would I want a book or you to take my book that show wholesome families like the Madeiras, the Westmorelands, the Grangers, and all of a sudden make them dysfunctional? There is a plot that shows drama, and it's what I gave them, what I was comfortable with doing, and that's good enough for me. So one thing I applaud Tosca is that PassionFlix as a whole recognized that women read romance books for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
They want that happy ending. They want to see if they read a good book, which is either a New York Times, USA Today book that they have placed on that level, it's because they enjoyed what they read. And when you take it to the screen, they are aware everything can't go into a book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But because you got a 90,000 word book, you only have an hour and a half movie.
Mm-hmm.
But the script can show what scenes, and what I do is go to my readers and say, what scenes you read the book. You put it on the New York Times bestseller list, USA Today bestseller list. What are your favorite scenes? And work with Tosca to make sure that those scenes that they wanted to see are in the book. And if you do that, then you're going to be in keeping with the story.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have one more question for you. My last question
Okay.
is, what kind of advice would you give to other Black romance authors? Because you spoke very well about the issues that you see with not wanting to actually tell your stories or option your books because they're not the stereotypes. They don't fit the stereotypes. They are, they're too normal. The Black people, the characters are too normal. And even still, like, Black authors write other races too. So what kind of advice would you give for any Black author that's trying to get their romance books out there into the world?
I would tell them, because as of April of next year, I will have written 150 books.
Wow.
Over 60 of them have made USA Today bestsellers list. I think 60. And over, I know 11 of them has made the New York Times bestseller list. So what I would tell them, write from your heart. If you want to write the kind with a lot of drama, there are people that will read a lot of drama, who wants a lot of drama. People have come up to me, women have come up to me and say, I've read your books, but they're too romantic. There's not enough drama for me. Then my books are not for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to change my writing style or my belief in romance to suit anybody. As an author, I write from my heart. I believe in romance because, like I told you earlier, I started dating my husband at 14, and I was with him for 42 years, married to him for 42. We were together for 45, 47, because we were dated 5 years before we got married, before he passed away in 2013. He was my best friend. Everything wasn't perfect. We were different people. I was he was a introvert. I was an extrovert. So we were different people. I love people. He but you have to make it work. And what I've learned from him the love, the passion, the understanding, the communication I put in my writing. So I can't write any other way. I give you a plot, I give you a conflict. So I will tell them, write the book you want your name on, the book you want to see published, and just go for it. And know your audience. I know my audience. I know my readers. I know that what they expect of me. Now that doesn't mean I have not written a book that didn't have, in fact, one book I did write, people would say didn't have a happy ending, but it did. But it was so big a book, my publisher divided into two books.
Mm.
So the first one ended with the guy not getting the girl.
Okay.
But the way it ended, he shouldn't have the girl. He didn't deserve her. So the second part of the book, or the second book, it was player handbook, and then no more player, where he kind of woke up and say, she's who I want. I don't care that she's now engaged to marry somebody else. I'm getting the woman I want because I really believe she loves me. So I've written drama books with drama in it, but it's my drama. It's not where multiple, and to me, that's not romance anyway. When, there's a difference between a romance book and a love story.
Yeah.
A love story, a romance always have a happy ending. I'm going to stick to that. Love story have a satisfying ending.
Yes.
So, that love story movie with Ryan O'Neal and Ollie McGraw, that was a love story. It was called Love Story. It didn't have a happy ending. She died.
No, not at all.
It had a satisfying ending. And that's one thing that Danielle Steele will say. I am not a romance author. I am just a woman fiction author, because her books don't always have, in fact, they usually don't have happy ending. They have satisfying ending. You're happy with the ending. It's just not the same hero and heroine end up with the same hero and heroine at the end of the book that started out with the book. So that's what I would tell people. Know what you want to write. Write. You can only do your best when you write from your heart. You can't write what I'm writing, or you can't write what she's writing, because that's what's selling. It has a readers will pick up on this does not sound real. You have to write what you really believe in.
Yeah. I think that's a wonderful answer. And it was such a joy getting to talk to you. Like I love this interview very much, and I thank you so much for your time. And
I
again,
thank you for
congratulations.
interviewing me, and please do so again. And I hope everybody go out and watch A Man's
Me
Promise
too.
and look
It's so
forward
good.
to A Lover's Vow, and then watch all three of them together, because I think they would enjoy the series.
I do too. It's a lot of fun to watch. Thank you so much. You have a good
Thank
day.
you. All right, you do the same now.
Bye.
Bye bye.